Welcome to Empathy Stories, where we explore the intricacies of human ambition, love, and redemption. Today's tale follows Mia Sanders, a woman caught between ambition and morality as she navigates a life-altering journey of deception, trust, and profound self-discovery. Stay tuned for a story that will touch your heart and inspire reflection. Mia Sanders had always dreamed of more, working as a waitress at Crescent Bay Grill, a high-end restaurant in the bustling heart of the city. She spent her days surrounded by the luxury and opulence she longed for but could never attain. Her life felt like a paradox, serving exquisite meals to wealthy patrons while returning home each night to a cramped apartment with her boyfriend, Jack. The peeling paint on the walls and the persistent hum of a faulty refrigerator were a stark reminder of the stark divide between her world and the glittering one she served. Jack, a man 10 years her senior, had a very different view of life. While Mia believed in hard work, Jack was a gambler, both literally and figuratively. His schemes and shortcuts had kept him afloat, but never stable. Jack's charm often masked his irresponsibility, and while Mia loved him, she couldn't ignore the growing chasm between their values. Deep down, she knew she wanted more than he could offer, something real, lasting, and earned. Each evening at the restaurant, Mia would watch the world she yearned for unfold before her eyes. Sleek cars with tinted windows would pull up to the valet, carrying elegantly dressed couples whose laughter and conversation hinted at lives filled with ease and freedom. She envied their confidence, their poise, their ability to enjoy life without worrying about rent or bills. One such evening, as Mia juggled trays of gourmet dishes, her attention was drawn to a man seated at the corner table. William Carter, a regular patron, was an enigmatic figure who exuded quiet confidence. His tailored suit and measured demeanor set him apart from the other guests. And though he rarely interacted beyond the necessary pleasantries, his presence was hard to ignore. That night, however, something about him captured Mia's attention more than usual. Seated across from him was a business associate, and their conversation, though hushed, carried snippets of words that struck a chord. Assets, millions, opportunities. As Mia refilled their glasses, she couldn't help but overhear fragments of their discussion. For the first time in years, Mia felt a spark of something she hadn't experienced in a long time. Hope. William wasn't just another wealthy patron. He was an opportunity, a doorway into the life she had always imagined. But how could someone like her, a waitress with no connections or resources, bridge the gap to someone like him? When Mia returned home that evening, her mind was buzzing with ideas. Jack, noticing her distraction, pressed her for details. She hesitated, but eventually told him about William Carter and the conversation she had overheard. Jack's eyes lit up, his opportunistic nature immediately seizing on the potential. "We could use this, Mia," he said, pacing the small living room. "This is the break we've been waiting for. You just need to get his attention." Mia frowned, her unease growing. "And how exactly do you suggest I do that?" Jack, walk up to him and say, "Hi. I overheard your conversation and would like to infiltrate your world." Jack laughed, but his mind was already working. No, it has to be subtle. We'll make him think you're someone he can trust, someone he wants in his circle. And that's when the plan took shape. Jack's idea was bold, risky, and ethically murky. He would pretend to pickpocket William during one of his visits to the restaurant, creating a staged moment for Mia to heroically return the stolen wallet. It was manipulative, but Jack was convinced it would work. Mia felt a knot form in her stomach as she listened. The plan was simple, but required her to deceive someone who had done nothing to deserve it. She voiced her doubts, but Jack brushed them aside. "Do you want to keep living like this, Mia?" he asked, gesturing around the apartment. "Because if you don't, you need to take risks. People like William Carter aren't going to notice you unless you give them a reason to." Reluctantly, Mia agreed. The promise of a better life was too tempting, and despite her reservations, she couldn't deny that Jack had a point. She had spent years working tirelessly with little to show for it. Maybe this was her chance to finally escape. The following evening, as the restaurant filled with its usual crowd. Mia steeled herself for what was to come. William arrived at his usual corner table, engrossed in conversation with his associate. Jack was already in position, sitting nearby and pretending to mind his own business. Mia moved through her tasks mechanically, her heart pounding in her chest. The moment came quickly. Jack slipped the wallet from William's jacket with practiced ease, and Mia, forcing her hands to steady, acted immediately. "Sir, I believe you dropped this," she said, holding up the wallet. The room seemed to pause as all eyes turned to her. William looked up, his expression one of surprise, before he quickly regained his composure. He took the wallet with a gracious smile. "Thank you," he said, his voice calm and measured. "That was quick thinking." Mia forced a smile, the weight of her deception already pressing down on her. William reached into his jacket and handed her a business card. "If you're ever looking for opportunities beyond waiting tables, give me a call," he said, as he turned back to his meal. Mia clutched the card tightly, a mix of triumph and guilt washing over her. She had succeeded in capturing his attention, but the cost of her actions was already becoming clear. Later, as she returned to the kitchen, her fingers brushed against the card in her pocket. The sense of victory she had felt moments earlier was fading, replaced by a creeping unease. She had taken the first step into a world she had always dreamed of. But at what price? Mia's journey had begun, but she was starting to realize that ambition often came with a heavy burden. Her actions had set something in motion that she couldn't take back. And as she walked home that night, the weight of her decisions pressed heavily on her shoulders. This was just the beginning, and she had no idea what lay ahead. The morning after the staged incident, Mia sat at the small kitchen table in her cramped apartment, staring at William Carter's business card. Its elegant design and embossed lettering seemed out of place in her modest surroundings. Jack, seated across from her, was practically buzzing with excitement. "You've got him now," Jack said, his grin widening. "You just need to follow up, set up a meeting, and get your foot in the door. This is the opportunity we've been waiting for." Mia's stomach churned. The thrill of her successful ploy had long faded, replaced by a gnawing unease. She couldn't forget the look of gratitude on William's face as he handed her the card. It felt wrong to exploit his kindness, but Jack's enthusiasm was infectious. "Don't overthink it," Jack urged, leaning forward. "This is just the first step. Play it right, and we'll be living the life we've always dreamed of." Reluctantly, Mia nodded. That afternoon, she dialed William's number, her hands trembling as she waited for him to pick up. When he did, his voice was warm and welcoming. "Mia, good to hear from you," William said. "I was hoping you'd call. How can I help you?" Mia took a deep breath, steadying her nerves. "I wanted to thank you again for your generosity last night," she said. "And I was wondering if the offer you mentioned is still on the table." "It certainly is," William replied. "Why don't you come by my office tomorrow? We can discuss some opportunities that might suit your skills." The next day, Mia stepped into William's office building, a sleek structure of glass and steel that felt worlds away from her own life. The lobby was pristine, with marble floors and modern art adorning the walls. Mia had dressed carefully, choosing an outfit that struck a balance between professionalism and approachability. When William greeted her, his demeanor was as composed as ever. He led her to his office, a spacious room with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city. As they sat down, William began to talk about his company and its operations, outlining opportunities for someone with Mia's potential. At first, Mia found it easy to stay focused on the discussion, nodding along and answering his questions. But as the meeting progressed, she couldn't ignore the growing sense of admiration she felt for him. William's confidence and intelligence were captivating, and for the first time, Mia saw him as more than just a means to an end. After the meeting, William offered Mia a position as his personal assistant. It was more than she had hoped for, a direct entry into the world she had always dreamed of. That evening, when she told Jack about the offer, he was ecstatic. "This is it, Mia," he said, wrapping her in a tight hug. "You're in. Now all you have to do is play your part." Mia tried to share his excitement. but a part of her felt uneasy. She was stepping further into a role built on deception, and the guilt was becoming harder to ignore. As the weeks passed, Mia quickly adapted to her new position. She managed William's schedule, organized meetings, and even offered her insights during discussions. To her surprise, William valued her input, often seeking her opinion on decisions. The more she worked with him, the more she saw a different side of him, one that was thoughtful, kind, and deeply driven. Their relationship grew closer as they spent more time together. While Mia tried to maintain her fabricated persona, the line between who she pretended to be and who she truly was began to blur. Her admiration for William deepened, and she found herself questioning her original motives. Jack, however, was relentless. He pushed Mia to dig deeper, to gain William's full trust. The more he relies on you, the more leverage we have. Jack said one night, "This isn't the time to get soft. Mia, we're so close." Mia nodded, but her heart wasn't in it. She was beginning to see William not as a target, but as a person, a man who had shown her nothing but kindness and respect. She couldn't deny the connection growing between them, and it scared her. Then, one evening, everything changed. William invited Mia to a corporate event, a lavish affair at an upscale hotel. The ballroom was filled with powerful figures, their laughter and conversations filling the air. William stayed close to Mia throughout the night, introducing her to influential people and valuing her presence in a way that felt genuine. As the evening drew to a close, William and Mia walked to their cars. The city lights shimmered in the distance, casting a warm glow over their surroundings. Suddenly, William turned to her, his expression earnest. "Mia," he began, his voice uncharacteristically hesitant. "I've been wanting to tell you something. Working with you has been different. I've come to realize how much I value not just your skills, but you as a person. I think I'm developing feelings for you." Mia froze, her heart racing. This wasn't part of the plan. She had spent weeks convincing herself that her actions were justified, that her relationship with William was merely a means to an end. But now, faced with his sincerity, she couldn't ignore the truth. She cared for him, too. As they stood there, the weight of her deception pressed down on her like never before. She had entered William's world with the intention of exploiting him. But now, she wasn't sure she could go through with it. The life she had always dreamed of was within her grasp. But at what cost? Mia's rising role in William's world had brought her closer to everything she thought she wanted. But it had also forced her to confront the darkest parts of herself. And as she drove home that night, her mind was a whirlwind of emotions, unsure of what her next move should be. The days following William's confession were a blur for Mia. She couldn't shake the memory of his earnest words or the depth of sincerity in his eyes. He wasn't supposed to be real to her, just a step in her plan to escape the suffocating life she shared with Jack. But now, everything felt more complicated, more fragile. Jack, oblivious to Mia's turmoil, was growing impatient. "You're in too deep to hesitate now," he said one evening as they sat in their cramped living room. "He's falling for you. Mia, this is perfect. All you need to do is gain access to his accounts, his files, everything. One clean move, and we're out of here for good." Mia nodded mechanically, but her heart wasn't in it. The guilt that had been simmering since the staged wallet incident was now a constant presence. Every interaction with William reminded her of the growing connection they shared, one that felt genuine in a way she hadn't anticipated. At work, William's reliance on Mia deepened. She became his confidant, trusted not just with his business matters, but with personal insights he shared in moments of quiet vulnerability. She saw the weight of his responsibilities, the loneliness that came with his success, and the humanity behind his polished exterior. One evening, as they reviewed a proposal in his office, William looked up from his desk and said, "I don't know how I managed before you came along. Mia, you've brought something into my life that I didn't realize was missing." The words struck her like a blow. She wanted to tell him the truth, to confess everything and beg for forgiveness. But the fear of losing him and of Jack's inevitable wrath, held her back. Jack, meanwhile, grew more aggressive in his demands. He had been watching William closely, gathering details about his routines and habits. "It's time, Mia," he said one night, his tone cold and unyielding. "You need to make your move. Get him to trust you enough to share everything. This is our only chance." Mia felt trapped, suffocated by the weight of her choices. The life she had always dreamed of was within reach, but the price of achieving it was becoming unbearable. She couldn't reconcile the person she wanted to be with the actions Jack demanded of her. The breaking point came at a corporate gala William had invited her to. The event was dazzling, filled with influential figures from the business world. William stayed close to Mia, his hand lightly resting on the small of her back as he introduced her to colleagues and friends. She could see the pride in his eyes as he spoke about her, and it made her heart ache. As the night progressed, William and Mia found themselves alone on a terrace overlooking the city. The cool breeze carried the faint hum of music from the ballroom below. "Mia," William said, his voice soft but steady. "I know this might complicate things, but I can't keep it to myself any longer. I care about you deeply, more than I thought possible." Tears welled in Mia's eyes as she looked at him, the weight of her deception crushing her. She wanted to say something, anything, to bridge the growing gap between her lies and his sincerity. But her throat tightened with emotion. Instead, she whispered, "I care about you too." The words were true, but they felt like a betrayal. That night, as she lay awake in her apartment, Mia knew she couldn't continue living this double life. She had built her entire relationship with William on a foundation of lies, and every step forward felt like sinking deeper into quicksand. The following day, Jack confronted her with a detailed plan to exploit William fully. "You've got his trust," Jack said, his eyes gleaming with ambition. "Now it's time to use it. Get what we need and disappear. We can start fresh somewhere else." "Mia, this is what we've been working for." Mia shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "I can't do it. Jack, I can't hurt him like this." Jack's expression darkened, his voice turning icy. "You're really going to throw away everything we've worked for? For him? Don't forget where you came from. Mia, you owe me." But Mia had already made her decision. The life she wanted wasn't built on betrayal and deceit. It was built on honesty, integrity, and love, the very thing she had begun to see in herself through William's unwavering trust and belief in her. That evening, she met William in his office, her hands trembling as she prepared to tell him the truth. He greeted her with his usual warmth, but his smile faded as he noticed her expression. "Mia, what's wrong?" he asked, concern lacing his voice. She took a deep breath, the words tumbling out in a rush. "William, I haven't been honest with you. When I first met you, it was all a lie, a plan to get close to you, to take advantage of you. Jack, my boyfriend, he pushed me into it, and I went along with it because I thought it was the only way to escape my life." William's face hardened, his eyes searching hers for answers. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because I can't keep lying to you," Mia said, tears streaming down her face. "You've shown me kindness, trust, and something I never thought I'd find, hope. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I needed you to know the truth." For a long moment, William said nothing. The silence was suffocating, but Mia forced herself to stand firm. Finally, he spoke, his voice measured but filled with emotion. "Thank you for telling me. Mia," he said, "I won't pretend this doesn't hurt, but I see the person you are now, not the person you were when this started." His words were a lifeline, and Mia felt a glimmer of hope that perhaps she could rebuild her life, this time on a foundation of honesty and integrity. As she walked away from his office, she felt lighter, as though a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in years, Mia felt free to be the person she truly wanted to be. The story of Mia, William, and Jack is a journey through ambition, morality, and the transformative power of truth, offering profound lessons from each character's choices and experiences. Mia's journey is a testament to the power of self-discovery and integrity. Initially consumed by her desire to escape her struggles, she allows deception to guide her path. However, as she grows closer to William, her conscience awakens, forcing her to confront the moral cost of her actions. Mia's story reminds us that true success isn't built on manipulation or shortcuts, but on honesty, courage, and self-awareness. Her ultimate decision to confess her deceit shows that redemption is possible when we choose integrity over ambition. William embodies the importance of trust and forgiveness. As someone who has achieved success through hard work, he places faith in those around him, including Mia. When her betrayal comes to light, his response is not one of anger or retaliation, but of understanding and measured reflection. William teaches us that while trust can be fragile, it can also be a pathway to healing and personal growth. His willingness to see the good in Mia underscores the strength that comes from empathy and the belief in second chances. Jack's character highlights the dangers of unchecked ambition and moral compromise. His relentless pursuit of wealth and success, regardless of the cost, blinds him to the damage his schemes inflict on those around him. Jack's failure to value honesty and emotional connection ultimately isolates him, serving as a cautionary tale about the emptiness of a life driven solely by self-interest. Together, these characters illustrate the complexity of human ambition and the redemptive power of truth. Their intertwined journeys remind us that while mistakes may shape our paths, it is our choices that define who we become. Thank you for joining us on Mia's remarkable journey, a story of ambition, redemption, and the transformative power of truth. If this tale resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Empathy Stories for more heartfelt narratives. Let's continue to celebrate the lessons and beauty found in every human experience. See you next time.